Welcome back to Crypto Terra. On today's video, I would like to discuss Cardano and how it's currently performing and how it will be performing during the upcoming hours and days. But before doing so, I would highly appreciate if you could follow me on Twitter at @ThoroCrypto, where you will be kept up to date about all upcoming videos. And thank you very much already, and let's get started. If we take a look at Cardano on the Bitcoin chart compared to Bitcoin on the daily time frame, what I would like to discuss is actually the moving averages. You can clearly see all three moving averages are serving as major levels of support. They have been major levels of support for quite a while already. You could clearly see that we have seen major support being found on this point in time above the 50-day moving average. Once we broke out towards the downside, we clearly got supported by the 200-day moving average, and afterwards we saw an increase, and right now we are retesting the 50-day moving average. For sure, it's not a very clear retest, we are just trading above it, but they are still underneath us, and that gives me a lot of confidence that we might see major support if we tend to break out towards the downside. As well, I would like to take a look at the EMA ribbon. The EMA ribbon looks actually very good to me on the daily time frame. You can clearly see that we are getting supported by it, and if we take a look at the MACD, you can clearly see that we have seen already major momentum towards the downside. A crossover is not occurring anytime soon, but what I personally think is that the strength will increase in just a couple of days and that we perhaps might see an exponential growth, but I'm not very worried right now due to the fact that we still have also underneath us the moving averages. So if we see a surge towards the downside, we are for sure going to find support on top of the 50 or 100 or 200-day moving average and head even further towards the downside, and I don't think a downtrend will get started. For sure, something else I wanted to discuss is as well on the 4-hourly time frame, not the moving averages but the EMA ribbon and the MACD. And what you can clearly see is that the EMA ribbon is right now serving as a major level of resistance above us. Therefore, we are seeing a minor decline. But what I think is actually rather important to know is that we are still seeing a higher low structure getting created. Well, right now the low is actually at the exact same point in time as the previous low, but for sure we are still seeing an increase. Therefore, I would like to discuss as well the RSI on the 4-hourly time frame, and what you can clearly see on the RSI 4-hourly time frame is something I think is actually quite good to know. Well, right now you can clearly see if we follow the dotted line, and I will be placing this metric as well. You can clearly see that these lines so far have been aligned quite well. What I think is very good to know is that if we take a look at this chart, you can clearly see that we are spotting a minor bullish divergence. Unfortunately, right now we have seen a further decline since I began with this video. Therefore, it is a little bit lower, but you could clearly see that we are forming a even high and a lower low. Therefore, it could be a minor bullish divergence, but right now, due to the fact that we have seen a further decline during the past couple of minutes, I think we couldn't call this a bullish divergence. But what I think is very important is that we are already in the pulpo area of the RSI, and even more important is that we are quite near the dotted line on the lower part. Yes, we are still quite far, and therefore we could see a major breakout occur even further towards the downside. That would be right now not something I think is very concerning due to the fact that on the daily time frame we still have major levels of support underneath us, and that Cardano compared to Bitcoin will hold strong. That is of course my personal opinion, but why I think it will do so is something I would like to discuss right away. So I will be placing actually two trend lines on the 4-hourly time frame, and those two trend lines what I would like to place by starting my first trend line at this point in time, heading back all the way towards where we are currently trading at. And what you can clearly see is that if I take a second trend line from this upper part all the way towards where we are right now, without counting the wicks of the candles, you can clearly see that we are forming a type of triangle, and I would like to say it's a symmetrical triangle. This being said, I would like to also take a look at this is a confirmed pattern. Therefore, I would like to see if we are seeing multiple touch points on this descending resistance. Yes, this is the case. We have seen already 3 touch points on this descending resistance, and we have already seen multiple touch points on this ascending support. And as well, I personally think we will right now head towards the second touch point, and when this occurs, we will actually confirm this pattern. So if we see a breakout either towards the up or towards the downside, it will be of major importance. And what I think is actually very good to know is that if this breakout occurs, this will be something you do not want to miss out on, due to the fact that this is a major growth of approximately 20 24% compared to Bitcoin. And if we see a breakdown occur towards the downside instead, not right now, but perhaps even further in the future, we might see as well a decline of approximately 24%. So yeah, for sure, something you would like to consider that is right now playing itself out on the Cardano compared to Bitcoin chart. Let's say, lastly, I would like to take a look at something I think is rather interesting and very important as well, and that is placing a Fibonacci retracement. I will be placing the Fibonacci retracement by selecting its swing low or its previous low all the way towards its current high, and I will be actually counting the wick of the candle. Therefore, you can clearly see that we are right now in between the 0.236 Fibonacci and the 0.382. We have clearly found support on top of the 0.382 and as well the golden pocket entry several times already. And I think right now it would be even healthier if we could see Cardano just find support on top of this ascending support, confirming this pattern and as well trading in between these two lines of support and resistance before seeing a major breakout occur, as I discussed previously. If we do not see this ascending support hold strong, I think perhaps we might already see a major decline in Cardano's price action, but for sure that is something we have to take into consideration. But what I think is very unlikely to occur due to the fact that this has been a major level of support already, and that we are seeing those moving averages supporting us on the daily time frame. So yes, it is possible to see a breakout occur underneath this ascending support, but I am actually quite sure we won't see a major breakout occur. Therefore, what I'm trying to say is that we won't see a major breakout occur from approximately 24%, as I discussed previously. Perhaps we might see a 10% breakout towards or breakdown towards the 0.5 Fibonacci level, but a 20% breakdown is something I think is rather unlikely to occur. So if we do not hold strong on top of this ascending support, I am right now saying that we will be able to find support on top of those moving averages. We did previously on the daily time frame, and I think we will do it once more. Therefore, I think it is no worry that we will be able to find support on top of the 0.5. This being said, I would like to head towards the Cardano compared to USD chart. On the Cardano compared to USD chart, I would like to start by selecting the daily time frame. And what I would like to discuss immediately is actually the RSI and the moving averages. So if we take a look at the RSI and as well enable the moving averages, you can clearly see that the moving averages are serving as major levels of support. We are right now seeing several wicks of these daily candles getting supported at the 50-day moving average. Therefore, it is a confirmed support zone, and I think it is very unlikely that we are going to break out all the way towards the 200-day moving average, due to the fact that we are seeing as well this previous orange box, a major level of previous support and resistance in the past. And I think if we see a breakdown occur, this level will actually be our stronghold on the Cardano compared to Bitcoin chart, and that is approximately at $1.81. For sure, right now, what I would like to discuss is actually the RSI. And why I would like to discuss the RSI is because I'm seeing something very good for the overall price action of Cardano, and that is actually this major bullish divergence. You can clearly spot a lower low on the RSI, but a higher low on the chart. So a higher low on the chart and a lower low on the RSI. This being said, this is a major bullish divergence playing itself out on the daily time frame. Yes, this will for sure have influence, and I think this is very good to know for the overall price action. Of course, this is on the daily time frame, therefore it might be something you do not want to consider due to the fact that it will play itself out in just a longer period of time. But what I'm saying is that this will also help for the overall strength of Cardano, and I think this will be also very helpful to be able to stay on top of the moving averages and not break even further below the 200 and 100-day moving average, because what I personally think is that the 100-day moving average will be the target zone where we are heading towards if we see a breakdown occur. This being said, I would like to lastly discuss the MACD on the daily time frame. What you could clearly see is that we are losing momentum on the MACD. The momentum is right now getting weaker, and a crossover I think might perhaps be inevitable during the next upcoming 2 to 3 days. This would be very helpful to see a major exponential growth on Cardano, and perhaps by the time this occurs, we might see a further decline, of course, just of a couple of percentages, heading towards the 100-day moving average, and at that point in time, finding support and going straight back up towards new targets ahead of us. As well, clearly the EMA ribbon is serving as a major level of support, and therefore I think it is very likely that this zone where we are currently at is of utmost importance to stay on top of. And if we see a minor breakdown underneath it, I think it is very likely that the MACD might help us by seeing a crossover occur during the next upcoming 2 to 3 days. This being said, I would like to head towards the 4-hourly time frame, and I would like to show you as well the MACD. What you can clearly see on the MACD on the 4-hourly time frame is as well that we are seeing a momentum loss. You can clearly see that the momentum is getting exhausted, and that we could perhaps see a crossover occur during the next upcoming 24 hours. That would be very helpful to see the overall trend head towards the upside. And I would like to discuss right away something I think is very important, and those are actually these support and resistance lines. So this ascending support is quite similar to the support we discussed previously on the Cardano compared to Bitcoin chart, but you can clearly see it's for sure a support zone and resistance zone that has been retested several times and therefore is of utmost importance. What I'm seeing over here is for sure a symmetrical triangle, and what we are actually seeing as well is multiple touch points on this descending resistance. We have seen already far more than 3 on this ascending resistance, and of course we have seen as well multiple touch points, 3 touch points on the ascending support. So the descending resistance has been holding strong as a major level of resistance, and the ascending support has been holding strong as a major support. Right now we are retesting this support zone, and what I would like to enable right away is the EMA ribbon. You can clearly see that the EMA ribbon has been serving for quite a while already as a major level of resistance. We broke down below it at this point in time on the 7th of September. Afterwards we have seen major retest of the EMA ribbon, even breaking out above it, but unfortunately not being able to find support on top of it, breaking down towards the downside, and right now heading towards once again a retest of the EMA ribbon, especially if we see the crossover on the MACD occur before we see a breakdown underneath this ascending support line. That is of utmost importance due to the fact that if we do not see the MACD actually cross over during the upcoming hours and we see these candles break down below this ascending support, it could perhaps mean that we're going to see a major decline in its price action. That decline is going to look something similar to this, and that is actually why I would like to measure it right away by selecting the very first touch point on the 7th of April all the way towards the point of the ascending support, and this will be our target. You can clearly see that if we are seeing this breakdown, it would be a 30% breakdown. Of course, as I said previously, this is a stronghold at $1.81, but what I've said as well is that the 100-day moving average and the 200-day moving average will serve as major levels of support. The 200-day moving average is unfortunately inside of the orange area, but the 100-day moving average is above the orange area on the daily time frame. Therefore, I think it will be a major level of support, and to just take that into consideration, I would like to enable it just one more time, and that would be at approximately, let's say, $1.95, what I think would be actually the target zone if we see a breakout down occur outside of this symmetrical triangle. Of course, this being said, I would like to discuss as well what the possibilities are if we see a breakout occur above this descending resistance. If this is the scenario we are talking about, perhaps by finding support on top of the current retest of the ascending support line, go straight back up, surpassing the EMA ribbon and breaking out above the descending resistance, finding support on top of it, we could see a major increase occur. We could be heading even further above this horizontal level of resistance at $3.17, and for sure that is something out of the ordinary and extremely bullish. What I think is quite unfortunate is that we are right now on the Bitcoin time frame seeing hidden bearish divergence, and that it could have major influence on Cardano's price actions. Therefore, I think a breakdown towards the downside is something you have to take into consideration that might occur during the upcoming 24 hours. As well, lastly, I would actually like to place a Fibonacci retracement from its previous low all the way towards where we are currently trading at. You can clearly see that with this Fibonacci retracement being placed, we are as well on top of the 0.382 at this chart in this point in time. Therefore, if we see a breakdown occur, we could be heading towards that $1.95 as I told you, but as well the $2.06 is a Fibonacci level, and this could be a potential stronghold as well. This being said, that is actually what I wanted to discuss on the Cardano compared to USD chart, I would like to end my video by asking you to leave a comment down below, and as well liking this video if you like the content so far. Thank you very much, and as well I hope you enjoyed the content. Have a nice day. Bye bye.